Welcome to the Anthony Hay Cabinet Shop here at Colonial Williamsburg. One of the things that cabinet makers have done for centuries is practice the art of social distancing, less about personal space and more in the spirit of just keep your hands off my stuff. In the British and American traditions of woodworking, it's typical for each workman to own his or her own tools. And often at the end of the day, you might want to tidy those up. And if you feel it's necessary, you might want to lock those up as well. Often that's done in a big tool chest like this. This is one that we made in the shop several years ago. It's copied after an original from 1797 that's back in England, made by a man named Benjamin Seton. Seton's chest on the outside is rough and tumble, as most are. It protects the precious cargo within. When we open this up, it's a very different story. We always like to call this our oyster in a way. There's a nice jewel on the inside. You can see here, beautiful veneer work showing off the cabinet maker's skill, taking some pride, making a statement. Store his saws up here, and then down inside the chest, wells and trays and tills of drawers. Here we've got a lifting lid on this section, and then the rest of this is taken up by smaller drawers here. Let's look at how we use one of these tool chests. This one here is something that I'm building. It's not finished yet, but I've already moved into it. Instead of a big till of drawers, it has sliding trays. These things can fit a lot of tools. In my top two trays, which ultimately will have individual lids on them, in some nice mahogany, I keep tools I use pretty frequently. All of my chisels, hammer, and then measuring and layout tools over on this side here. These are things I go to several times a day. Below my chisel tray, I've got marking tools here, scrapers, draw knives, spoke shaves. Below my measuring tools tray, stuck in there, I store my saws in this sort of neat little box that I copied out of a early 19th century English tool chest. Underneath this tray back over here, lots of carving tools. This tray then has drawers in it, so I can pack that with more and more carving tools. Under that is another two-layer thing, files, different sizes, burnishing tools, toothing plane, some gimlets here. Those are a little bit modern. And underneath that, a brace. Store bits in there as well. And below this guy, you can see down in there, I could store molding planes in a double row. When I slide everything forward, I can see the profiles of the planes I want to grab. In the center section, I keep my bench planes and a few joinery planes. These are the tools I go to all the time. I don't have to really move anything to get to those. So this is kind of a typical strategy for storing your tools, although there are also, plenty of idiosyncrasies within that as well. Let's look at some other storage possibilities.
So another way to store tools would be to hang them on your wall, most likely to hang up the ones that you use most often. So as you can see here, we have our saws, because a large majority of the work that we do here in the shop is sawing wood. We also have various marking gauges, chisels close at hand. You'll also see other various tools hanging about, straight edge, larger marking gauge, a panel gauge. We've got patterns hanging around the wall here, things that we can refer to in the work that we're doing. And then to store some of the smaller tools, I'm currently working on constructing a small tool chest, or a chest of drawers. It's going to have several places to store the smaller tools that don't really have a home living on the wall that I might not use quite as frequently.
Where I work in the shop, I also have a lot of my tools up on the wall, of course, quick access, very good in a cabinet shop. But I've also finished a little tool chest of drawers that is very, very useful for me. So if we look down here at it, the drawer that I probably use most is the top drawer down here. It's where I keep a lot of very customary woodworking tools, like carving tools and gouges. files, of course, for sharpening, and layout tools up top, and a skinny little drawer, and then a drawer totally dedicated for little bitty scraps of wood that I find very useful. Gotta have that as a woodworker. And then 2 drawers for some marking and layout tools and little extras here and there, little pieces of wood to help me do the tasks I need to do. And then down here in the bigger drawers, I keep some of my joinery planes, like the rabbet planes and moving Philister planes, tools to keep the dust off, essentially. And then over here, a couple of little finishing tins made in our tin shop here at Colonial Williamsburg, and to hold our linseed oil that we used to finish with sometimes.